Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Another week goes by. We're here on KGZ, KGLN, and many other places all across eastern Utah, western Colorado. Podcasts, satellite images, broadcast into space for alien beings, and, of course, the ships at sea. Once again, thanks for joining us. These are trying times we find ourselves in. I don't know any other way to start the program out. I'm optimistic, cautious, and shocked at the things that keep happening. And I am by nature a cynical person and am mostly unsurprised by the perfidies of politicians and the ilk of the far left. But even I am capable of being surprised. Of course, this week we saw the release in probably all of American history, but certainly in modern American history, with, I would say, last 125 years, something from the Supreme Court, a written document from the Supreme Court. That's just not done. And it can't be done for a lot of reasons. You've heard them all. I know my listeners spend a lot of time on talk radio, on the internet, listening to at least the few programs on television that you can listen to that have anything like a balance or give you the information you need. So I'm not going to go back through that again. But having spent some time in the law, and I am not it's probably impossible to disillusion me about what has happened to the legal system. It's a disaster. And I don't think we can use the word justice in the connection with it particularly. Occasionally it lands on justice, I suppose, but I'm not certain it even aims for that anymore. But we're working on it. It's the best we can do. I try and work on it, work as hard as I can. I know others do too. But it is a titanic rock we're rolling up that hill these days. And not only is the rock itself heavy, but others seem to be joining on the other side of it to push it down on us. But we're not giving up, and I truly believe with the help of people like yourselves that we'll be successful. But it's going to be some heavy lifting, very heavy lifting. But will they find this person that released this draft opinion? And by the way, as most of you know, it is a draft opinion, and Samuel Alito purportedly wrote it. We don't even know if it's true. We don't know how much of it is correct. We don't know how much of it is just a draft that would be circulated among the other justices to see what they agreed with and what they didn't. We don't know what they voted on, or if they've even voted it yet, on the whole matter of Roe v. Wade. And we, of course, don't know completely why someone would leak it. It is a terrible, terrible moral crime. It is an ethical crime against your employers, something you have sworn not to do. A person who does that is simple, and I don't want to sound too old-fashioned here, but they have no honor. And it's not about which side would have done it. I would feel very badly about it if it was something that we thought was important that would come out early before a decision. That's not how it works. And a person who does something like this is no longer capable of being trusted in any way. So they should be found and eradicated. Do I think it was one of the associate justices? I doubt that. One of the clerks? Probably. Now, I would say that as a reminder, perhaps you've heard a little of this, but it wasn't talked about a lot, during the original decision in Roe v. Wade in 1973, there were leaks, but they were leaks about what was being discussed. There would be sources saying, the justices are talking about this and that, this and that. And some written material at one point made its way out, and a employee at a government printing office was scrutinized. Nothing was ever proven, and he was transferred, I think, to the Aleutian Islands or something. But nothing like this. And I notice a parallel already, that the left is discussing this as though it were the Pentagon Papers. Some may remember that, people who were around then, or people that have studied political science or political history or just history. Remember Daniel Ellsberg released these papers in the 70s from the Pentagon that were classified, that contained a lot of information that showed that the U.S. military was not being completely honest with the American public about what was going on at the war. But it was classified, and there was other classified material in it. So it was lionized. looking back on it, yeah, this good information came out of it, but it certainly kicked a hole in the wall of the idea that you shouldn't be breaking the law because you want to. That there are other ways around it. But it very much reminds me of that. Whoever this is, if they're discovered, they will probably be someone who has a license to practice law, because the clerks usually have passed the bar or they're in the process of passing it, about to become lawyers. They should be disbarred. And I know that right now that as a conservative, you're much more likely to have someone try and get rid of you than any other way. It happens all the time. Look at Rudy Giuliani, all the lawyers associated with the Trump litigation about the campaign and ultimately about this election. They were all attacked at their basis for earning a living. The same way that poor woman who publishes the libs of TikTok. Remember, it's a Twitter account, and it just posts videos of people who put videos up on TikTok unedited. They put them out on TikTok for everybody to see. Just gathers them in one place so you can watch it. And it turned into a real problem. And, of course, she was outed and doxxed and said who she was and all sorts of things by the Washington Post reporter Taylor Lorenz, who had recently received some bad remarks, I suppose, in her account, on her Twitter feed or whatever the case was. And she was crying about it and how hateful it was. And then she unleashes the mob on this person. We have reached an Orwellian. People use that word so often now, I almost hesitate to. But something out of the way Orwell felt as though that governments that tend towards autocracy eventually turn truth upside down. Truth is what they say it is, and it changes from day to day. In the book 1984, one of the memes is that the war that is going on in the background of this, the government changes sides all the time, who their allies are. But their publication will be, we have always been at war with the Southeastern Combine, which, the week before they were not. And everybody knows it's not true, which, of course, is the worst thing you can do to a population, which is make them say and believe things that they know are not true. But that's what's done in this book, and Orwell realizes that's the worst thing you do to people, is to make them say and do things they know are incorrect, not true, and ultimately harmful. And so there's that quality to this stuff. I mean, it's starting to have that upside down feeling that wrong is right. That you fight racism by being racist. You have that as in 1984 that freedom is slavery. That was one of the things in there. That seems to be coming this way. But we have the strength to do something about it. We can do something in 2022, and we can do something here locally, and we can do something to get rid of these Jaspers everywhere, from your city councils to your Senate and ultimately to the President of the United States. But you got to do everything step of the way. Root and branch. Every one of these progressives, and apparently every Democrat. Because it seems like every Democrat is in step with every other Democrat, and they all believe that every one of them is better than any Republican. So, root and branch, my friend. They've got to be voted out. I'm going to read a little something here. I have a minute. Let's see if I have the time. I probably don't as I look through it. We're going to read a little something that was written, 1776, when our country was really founded. 1619, some random date picked up by some half-wit writer for, the New York Times, I think, that started the 1619 Project. We'll read a little bit from someone that wrote December 23, 1776. And I think I'll put a special little bumper in here. Those of you on the podcast won't hear it. Something quick before we come into the next segment. The rest of you folks out there, be of good cheer. Don't let me sound as though I'm down, because I'm not. I'm just perplexed, sad, and thinking about what to do. I'll be right back.